Today we're going to talk about DPNs, which stands for double pointed needles. And don't be afraid of double pointed needles. Double pointed needles are your friend. So we're gonna pretend that this is like a full-on hat that's like 7 inches long. And when you're making a hat, you have to get smaller and smaller and smaller in order to make that crown for your hat. And as you begin decreasing, you'll notice that it's getting pulled too tight and it's uncomfortable to stay on your hat needles, and you need to switch over to the DPNs. So I'm just going to show you how to do that today, because you're going to use DPNs to make sleeves and socks and anything that has a very fine, tiny little hole. So as you come to the end of your round, this is my marker today. I would suggest switching to the DPNs when you're on a knit all round, which is fairly common in a project. So you're coming to the end, and when you have one left in your marker, I suggest that is when you switch to your first DPN. So this has about 20 stitches on it. So I'm going to put 5 stitches on each DPN. So you just start knitting like you normally do, just with your new double pointed needle. And this is the part that feels a little strange, because you're coming around from back here and you're like, is this loose? Is this working? Yes, it's working. So you make your first stitch. And the reason I want to start here is because I don't want to lose my marker on these DPNs. So I want something to hold the marker in. So keep going. Let's do 5. And I pull a little tighter because I don't want it to fall off my new DPN. Okay, so here's my first one with my 5 stitches. Now move your yarn over a little bit so it's not too tight. Okay, so center these, make sure it's nice and tight so nobody falls off, you don't lose anybody. And then you're gonna continue with the next. Just like normal knitting. Here's the awkward part, you come around. Here's 5, make sure you pull that tight, pull that. I do not suggest doing this on the go your first time, because you want to make sure that you don't lose anybody in this transfer. Okay, so now I have 5 on here. And it doesn't necessarily have to be an even number, you just have to make sure that, you know, they're spread out. Sometimes if you know that the next round, let's say the next round is knit 3, knit 2 together, this is going to work out really well. Well, actually, you'll have knit 3 and then you'll have to knit 2 together, which means you'll have to slip this one over here. So maybe I would have done 6 on this needle, knowing that that was coming up, so that you don't have to keep slipping in order to make it work out. I think you'll understand what I'm saying when you get to that point in your pattern. Okay, next one. Okay, and it will start forming a little square. So you see we have 1 side, 2 side, 3 side. Just like that, and now we just have 5 left. And you can keep it on this needle and work like that, but as you can see, this gets a little bit crazy. But in an emergency, if you've lost one of your needles, you can always do that. Here's my working yarn, it's gonna come around. Okay, be gone with you, circular needle. Go away. Okay, so now we have our 4 needles, and as you can see, the reason we do this is because then they can get closer and closer and closer, and our hole can get tinier and tinier. It gives us a lot more flexibility. So don't be scared of DPNs because they are your friend. Now, how do you keep going after this? Well, you have a 5th needle. So you're going to finish off the round. This is my tail. And this is the last stitch in my round. All right, now I slip the marker and start again. So let's say I'm going to do a decrease round now. I'm going to do knit 2. And then I'll knit 2 together. And then I'm done with this needle. And this becomes my new sort of working needle. Here I am, ready to go. I've rotated it. And it is awkward. It is super awkward, but you'll get used to it. So we'll knit 2. Knit 2 together. And if we continue that pattern, I'll knit 2. Here's 1. 2. Knit 2 together. 1, 2. Knit 2 together. 1, 2, knit 2 together, and since I didn't really know what the pattern was, I have 1 left, so I can keep going. And as you can see, as I continue to decrease, get out of the way, working tail. Get out of the way, tail. Okay, as you can see, as I can continue to decrease, there are fewer stitches on the needles. So we started with 5, now we're down to 4 on each needle. And you can only imagine if we had stayed, slipped the marker, if we had stayed on those other needles, how tight that would have felt. So if we go around now and let's knit 2 together all the way around, I'm getting less and less stitches on each needle. See, now I'm down to just 2 on this one. And you want to make sure that they don't get lost. So sometimes working on a table your first time is actually a good idea because these can get very slippery, see? See? Okay, now I'm gonna flip this over so you can see how it's getting smaller and smaller. See how this hole is getting so small? That's why we need all of these little needles working together. See how small it's getting? Now, I think it's beneficial to show how to do this on these giant needles. Let me just tell you, DPNs in a big needle is a little tricky. But the good thing about it is that if they fall out, these stitches are big enough that it's not a crazy emergency. Like you can save them, like hold on to them, get the needle back in, and just keep going. As you can see here with my first attempt at a sock, that I don't even know where I am at this pattern anymore, so that's a problem. But these are DPNs that are much smaller, you see? And see, they stay really well and easily. You can get little knitting needle covers that you can put on each end, but it gets kind of annoying to keep pulling them off and putting them back on. So I just wanted to show you this because it's much easier to control when it's these tiny little DPNs than these big giant crazy ones that kind of are slippy and slidey. So don't be afraid of DPNs. Practice, 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 and then life will open up for you more. I mean, look at this great sock I have going, which I may never finish because I'm still learning how to make socks.